Welcome to Financial Strategies with Andrew Agemy in Connecticut and Daniel Agemy in Colorado.
Welcome, Dano. You might not know why Hawaii Five-0 was called Hawaii Five-0. A lot of people think, it's Hawaii Five-0 because that was the police in Hawaii. Well, why the producers named Hawaii Five-0 was because Hawaii is the 50th state, 5-0. But over the years, it's become a slang term for police. I'm Andrew Agemy.
And I'm Daniel Agemy, and you're listening to Financial Strategies. We're calling this show Hawaii Five-0, Defining Retirement. And AAA, that's I didn't know that. When you asked me about that, I thought it was because police are called 5-0. You know, you hear the 5-0 come, right? Because they used to be those 5-0 Ford motors, right? And you could hear it come up. You could hear that 5-0 running. So they call it Hawaii 5-0. But apparently not.
Right. Well, I didn't know that either until I did some research on it. Hawaii is a wonderful, beautiful place. Here I am here with my beautiful wife of 42 years and enjoying Hawaii. And, where in the world is Andrew and Daniel? Well, Andrew's in Hawaii today, right? And, I wanted to share a little bit of Hawaii with our clients as well as our radio and YouTube guests, right? Our radio guests are not going to be able to see anything, but they're going to be able to hear all the good stuff we have for them today. And those who are watching it on YouTube will be able to see that. And I understand my video is doing some funky things here and there, but nevertheless, you'll get the gist and see some good things here. But the point is that, Hawaii, and I got to do this, right? Well, look at, this is a malasada. This is a malasada known for, Hawaiian donut kind of thing, right? And I learned about this from, the redo Hawaii Five-0. Well, this is a great thing, man. I love it. My friends who are here with me.
Good.
I said, hey, you got to try the malasada. I said, what is that? It's a Hawaiian donut. You got to try Hawaii Five-0. So, I got it from Hawaii Five-0. So, yeah, this is great. Anyway.
So for those who are watching us on the screen, his background looks very gray. It looks like it's maybe dark, but it's 10, 11 o'clock in the morning in Hawaii. It's super bright. I saw it a little bit earlier. It's not gray. The water goes back for a while, but for those watching, it just looks like a gray background. See right now, hopefully it adjusts in a little bit and we can see how bright it is out there.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, anyway, the point being here is that we decided to do this on Hawaii Five-0 because of definitions, and people don't understand definitions, defining retirement. There's a lot of things. I saw, today I saw somebody with a shirt on it said, "My retirement plan." And it had a golf tee with a golf ball on it. And so, the guy's thinking about retirement, which is a great thing. And we come across many people who don't even think about retirement. But Hawaii is an interesting place. And, it's a 50th state, became a state in 1959. Prior to that, it didn't, back, a long time ago, decades, 100 years ago, Hawaii was, did sugar cane and some pineapples, but, it stopped, right? With the taxes of the U.S. government and everything, when it became a state, it took all that stuff away. It was too hard to do that. So Hawaii's main product, so to speak, is tourism. And it's really kind of interesting when you think about it, because Elvis Presley, Hawaii becomes a state in 1959, and that's when tourism started ramping up. Elvis Presley starts doing a lot of movies on Hawaii, right, in the early to mid 60s. Airplanes start becoming faster and bigger and jet powered more than ever before, toward, the mid 60s and beyond, right? Hawaii Five-0 comes on the scene to do the show and encourages people to come to Hawaii. And think about it for a minute, guys. Hawaii, you can go to California, you can go to Florida, you can see palm trees and that kind of thing, but it's no Hawaii. Hawaii is different than any other state. I've been to all 50 states, and I know there's similarities in different ways, but Hawaii is its own place. Whichever island, even the islands of Hawaii are they're the same. They're very much the same in a lot of ways, but they're also very different in their own way. But that's what happens with retirement, right? People are going along and it's kind of like being in the continental United States, and then they retire, and retire is totally different, like going to Hawaii. And if you're not prepared for it, it can be a bad situation. But if you're prepared, it's fantastic. Just like going from the continental United States to Hawaii is fantastic. So, that's why we're calling Hawaii 5-0, because the definition of 5-0 and why it was called Hawaii 5-0 is different than what many people think. And the same thing with retirement. Many people think that retirement is different than what it was. Here, let me give you some real quick statistics here. One thing that I learned recently is that 80% of people don't have any goals. No goals. They're just like going to work, hoping to retire one day, go home, watch some TV, eat, rinse, go to bed, wake up, go to work, rinse and repeat, do it again, right? 16% of people have some kind of idea of what they want to do in life. 4% of people have goals written down. 1% have their goals written down and review them regularly. Now, guess what? The 16% are like 1,000% ahead of those 18% that don't have any idea what they want to do in life. The 1% that have their goals written down and review them regularly are 10,000% ahead of those, that 16%. So the point here is that we come across a lot of people that all they know is they want to retire. They don't really have a clue to what they want to do in retirement or what it looks like. Maybe other than that guy with that shirt that he wants to golf, and that's a good thing, right? But there's a lot of other things that come with that, and that's what today's show is about. Is Hawaii 5-0, defining retirement, right? I mean, how many people, there's probably not a lot of people hearing this, watching this, that would rather be in Hawaii right now. The other day, Daniel, I caught myself. I was in the pool and I got out of the pool and there's a breeze and it's like, oh man, this is cold. Maybe May is cold. And I think, what am I talking about? A bad day in Hawaii is better than a great day on the continental United States, right? Yeah. So that's the same way with retirement, is that if you do your retirement right, a bad day in retirement is going to be far better than a great day not in retirement, right? But we want to get you in that place. And, for that, we've got a couple giveaways. We got some things we want to educate you. We're all about, you listen to Financial Strategies with Andrew and Daniel Agemy, because people don't know what people don't know. And so we want to educate you. We want to serve you by educating you, helping you to know those things that you don't know so that you can know and that you can make smart and wise decisions. Have some goals, write those goals down and so Definitive Guide to Retirement is paper that we have put together for you today that you can have for free by calling us at 800-725-7616, 800-725-7616 for your free copy. Definitive Guide to Retirement. Call now. 800-725-7616. You're listening to Financial Strategies with Andrew Daniel Agemy. Today's topic, Hawaii 5-0, defining retirement. Aloha. Andrew's broadcasting from Hawaii today. And, with that, that's what they say here. You go to a luau or whatever thing, and the speaker at the luau or when they're excited, they're talking about aloha is how they do it. And it's kind of interesting. Even if you define aloha, I always thought it meant hello and goodbye and stuff like that. And if you look up the definition, it's not like that. It's more of a overall confirmation and just well-being situation from that standpoint. So anyway, Daniel, we've got some things, you and I, we talked about this and preparing for the show, what we're going to talk about and how this all fits in. And I know, Daniel, that I'm missing some of the stuff that I talked about, right? So help me fill in the blanks.
Well, I guess it's all about goals, right? And so you brought up those statistics on the goals. And the first thing that you need to retire is you have to have a goal to retire. Then it gets bigger and bigger from there. What do you want that goal to look like, right? Do you want to retire and sit home and order Domino's and watch the pizza and eat the pizza and watch TV, watch some Hawaii 5-0, right? Is that retirement? Because if that's your retirement, that's good. That's a goal. We see we help people retire every day. We see a lot of people retire, and we see some people who they achieved the goal of retirement. They built up enough money. They have enough income so that they can retire, right? It's not so much how much money you've saved up. It has more to do with the income that you have in retirement. Once you make enough money without going to work to support your life, then you don't have to go to work anymore. That's kind of how it works. And you could do a lot of things to create income in order to sustain that lifestyle. That's a lot more calming. That's a lot more aloha way of doing it, right? Than saying I've got this much money in the bank and it has to last me the rest of my life. It's always frustrating people when they talk about how much is in the bank. Like, you got $1 million in the bank. I hope you don't have $1 million in the bank, because one, it's not safe, and two, it will, the government's working hard to devalue that money, so it won't buy you anything. It's got to be invested. But that's beside the point. So how big or how small is that goal for your retirement? And that's up to you. You have to take some time and you have to think about that. You and your spouse, you and your significant other, or if it's just you need to take some time and you need to think about that. Do you want it traveling first class to Hawaii, to Europe, to things like that? We have clients who have done all different things. Become pilots in retirement, right? Start new businesses, start retreats. We've had people who like scuba diving, traveling, all kinds of different things, traveling around in RVs, right? Or spending time with the grandkids, all taking cooking, all different types of stuff. And you can do that once you retire, but it's a lot better, and it gets you to a better spot when you start setting these goals. What would you say, AAA? 10 years? Really? I mean, you can do it way, way before, but really you should start thinking about it 10 years, 10 years ahead of time.
Right. And at least thinking about it, right? If you start going too much, that can be a problem, because you get like really excited and you want to, you're unhappy. It makes you more unhappy in your job, right? Because you can't be in retirement, right? But there's a certain balance with that, and that is a key. Is just thinking about it. Like I said, it's uncanny how many people come to us and they don't have any clue about retirement, and I love saying to them, listen, I retire vicariously through my clients every day. So I know what it's like to be 50 and retired, 60 and retired, 70 and retired, 80 retired, 90 retired, but you don't, and hopefully you only retire once. And that's our goal, is to make sure that people only retire once. The only reason that they should be retiring from retiring and going back to work is because they want to, not because they have to. Yeah. And if you don't set a goal like those statistics that I gave you, guess what's going to happen? You're either going to have to sit on the couch watching the reruns of Hawaii 5-0, or you're going to have to be working and watch them at night. So that's what we're trying to help you do, is help you get your head wrapped around. And whether you're one of our clients, our happy clients, thank you very much for your trust and confidence, or you're just listening to the radio show, you're going to stay tuned. We're going to have to take a break here, and we got a book that we want to give you before we do, but stay tuned for as we come back, because we got a lot more to give you so that you can define your retirement. We want to help you define retirement according to your definitions, not ours. You listen to Financial Strategies with Andrew and Daniel Agemy, because people don't know what people don't know. We have a book to give you today by our friend Anthony Siccaro. Great book. Anthony's book is based upon the concept of people don't know what people don't know, but it's called More Life Than Money, and how not to outlive your retirement savings. And we love to put this book in your hand by calling us 800-725-7616 for the next 5 first-time callers. 800-725-7616. Call now.
Important financial question. Are you feeling confident that you have enough money saved to enjoy a stress-free retirement?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
That's where Retirement Income Sources investment advisory arm comes in. We exist to help you invest your money smartly.
I'm struggling to accept my retirement without a steady paycheck. So can you help me invest into a profitable revenue plan?
Absolutely. We have top advisors nationwide who have a fiduciary obligation to you, helping you generate retirement income.
You're locked on to Financial Strategy with Andrew and Daniel Agemy.
Social Security started not really as a retirement benefit, but as a widows and orphans benefit. Why? Because when Social Security started in the 30s, people would retire and then at 65, and then they would die a year later. They would not live very long after retirement, right? Because they had no retirement thoughts or plans. And when they died, guess what? They had minor children and they had wives who didn't work. They, didn't work outside the home. So they didn't have any Social Security. So Social Security was designed to provide for the widows and the orphans of those who died. And why did the people die? Because they had no purpose in life. I'm Andrew Agemy.
And I'm Daniel Agemy, and you're listening to Financial Strategies. Today, we're talking about Hawaii 5-0. As you can see, AAA is back there, at least if you're watching on YouTube. In Hawaii, he's got a beautiful backdrop, seeing the water. And if you're listening on the radio, you'll just have to believe us that it's a beautiful sight.
Yeah, man. And, one of the things when we're talking about goals in retirement and what your goals should be, I think it's very appropriate to talk about, what does this Bible say about retirement? And the Bible speaks of retirement in two different fashions. It speaks in both the pro aspect as well as the con aspect, okay? But not in what people necessarily think as the traditional way of retirement, okay? So in the Old Testament, it talks about, the really only mention of retirement in the pro is where the Levites at 50 years old would have to retire from serving in the temple. And they would then, though, they wouldn't just like go back and take it easy and enjoy life, so to speak, but they would enjoy life still serving God by teaching the others how to serve in there and helping the others who were the younger men who were serving in the temple. Now, recently, one of my friends, I was talking to his son, who is a sophomore, finished up a sophomore year in seminary. And he was telling me, it's a small seminary, and the professors there are retired pastors. And I said, that's great. That's a biblical definition. They are no longer serving in churches, that they're taking their wealth of knowledge and disseminating it to the younger men who are learning how to do it to be able to help them to move forward into the future. That's the positive methodology of retirement in the schools. It's not that you just stop doing everything. You're still productive. You still have purpose, and you're still putting forth. The major thing we have, the most important thing we have in life of any significant value is relationships. You take away relationships, and what do you got? Nothing. The most important thing in life is our relationships with our loved ones and friends, families, vendors, whatever it may be. The money that we make is just to enhance our relationships, because God created us to have a relationship with us. So that's what the Levites were doing, continuing those relationships, continuing to serve God, continuing to serve their fellow man. But we go to the New Testament, and Jesus talks about the wealthy farmer his barns were filled to overflowing, and they weren't big enough to hold all his wealth. So then he tore down those barns and built bigger barns and stuffed those full. And they said, now I'm able to, I got all my wealth secured, and I'm able to sit back, relax, enjoy life, play golf, do whatever I want to do. And Jesus says, you fool, for tonight your life will be required from you. And who then is going to get all that you have stored up? And, we could go on and on with that scenario. But the point is, in the Bible, that's the idea. It's not that retirement is wrong, but the point is you have to have goals. You have to have plans. What do you want to do? This guy's plan was to go and the wealthy guy was to go and use all his wealth to satisfy himself. Very kind of hedonistic, if you ask me. Whereas the Levites were very altruistic and being able to give and be selfless in their giving. But whatever your goal is, that's what we're talking about. I'm just telling you what the Bible says, but whatever your goal is, we want to help you to achieve your goal. But you have to have goals, and whatever it may be. So these are a lot of different things to think about and to help you from that standpoint. And when we're talking about goals, Daniel, the thing that comes to my mind is needs versus wants, as you had brought out last time, right? What's the difference between the need versus the wants?
Well, what is survival, right? So there's survival, and we see a lot of people living retirement and the survival mentality, which is my needs, my needs, my needs, right? And there's a few things. One is one cause. There's a lot of reasons somebody could be in that. It comes from trauma. It comes from childhood. It comes from how we were educated, how we were brought up. We're not going to get into all of that, but it comes from a lot of things, and that's partly why we're talking about the goals. Because one thing that it can come from is there's just not goals to have a target to hit, right? We talk about all the time. If you're in Connecticut and you're trying to get to California and you aimlessly drive to get there, there's a good chance you'll get there because eventually you'll get there. But if you have a map and you know exactly where you're going to go, you know exactly where you're going to California, it's a lot easier to hit that target than just, I know California is somewhere and let me just drive until I end up there, right?
Go 95 west instead of 95 east.
So the goals are a big portion on that, right? To get you from a needs-based to a wants-based retirement. Another thing with that is how you talk to yourself, if you're worthy of having, if you deserve to have a retirement where you can have the things you want, compared to worrying about spending down your money so there's nothing left, and being careful how you use your money so that there's nothing left. And we'll get more into this, but this is a big one we see all the time where people get into this thing. They retired, they made it there, but it's not as enjoyable as it could be because they're worried about running out of money. And people are not usually able to articulate it like that, but it's in the back of their head. And if you stop and think about it, and you're doing this, you'll say, oh, that makes sense. And maybe this will be able to help you a little bit as we go here.
Oh, Daniel, that is cool, man. I got something to say on that. But first, I want to tell those that are in our listening audience, you listen to Financial Strategies with Andrew and Daniel Agemy. Aloha. Today our topic is Hawaii 5-0, defining retirement. And we've got a paper that we'd love to put in your hand to help you even more understand that even better, right? So Definitive Guide to Retirement Income. You can have that for free by calling us at 800-725-7616. Definitive Guide to Retirement Income, yours for free, no obligation, 800-725-7616 for your free copy. Listen to Financial Strategies because people don't know what people don't know. And we want to help educate you, serve you so that you can make smart decisions, especially for your retirement. So you can retire and stay retired. Daniel, that's an excellent point that you had there. Being worthy, right? Retirement is an attitude. Retirement is an attitude. And what your retirement is going to look like is going to be dependent upon what your attitude is. And basically, we can take people's attitudes and boil them down into two different fashions. One is a fixed fashion that doesn't like to take any kind of risk in life. I'm not talking about risk in investments. I'm talking about risk in life. And then the other is a growth mindset where you're either have success or lessons learned. There is no failure, right? Many people are their self-talk when they don't accomplish what they want, they think they failed. And that is a problematic attitude to have in all of life. Retirement, all of life is problematic to think you failed. A better way to think of it is it's just a lesson that I learned. I'll tell you, I'm the first one to admit I paid a lot of money to the school of hard knocks, literally, right? But they're all lessons to have catapulted me to where I have the opportunity to be in Hawaii today. Aloha, Hawaii 5-0. Man, get your Hawaii, book them, Daniel. But the attitude is very key. And that attitude starts with the goals and just have down what's your self-talk? What are you talking to yourself about? And what does retirement look like to you? And, this may be like, to some people listening, Daniel, this might be like way above their head, but hopefully we're able to stretch people and because we're not just about the financial aspect of retirement, helping people financially, right? It's more than that. It's what's up here. It's what between the 6 inches between their ears that counts at the same time, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. Why you and I do what we do is to add value to people's lives, right? There's their whole life, all kinds of things. I mean, you could be retired. I could be doing there's all kinds of things. But why we do this, why we spend so much of our time and energy doing this, because because that's a purpose that we have, because we want to add value and we have a skill. We both have skills, and we
That's
want
right.
to use those skills, those God-given skills, to benefit other people. And so today's a bit of a different type of show, but it's very important. And those mindsets, what I'd like to dive into in those mindsets is something that is so true. And the more you think about this, the more you're like, this is amazingly true, but we don't think about it very much. And that is how you talk. So if you say, I can do something or I can't do something, you are right.
Oh boy, that's painful. Ouch.
And so when we're talking about retirement, when we're talking about building up wealth, when we're talking about these kinds of things, you have to be careful, or just mindset in general. You have to be careful of the words you use, because words are so very powerful. Not only to your self-talk, but when you're talking to other people, to say, I'm always sick, or I'll never have enough money, or I can't go to Hawaii, or I can't do this, and we notice that when we're talking with our clients, we notice that when we're talking with prospects, and there's been plenty of prospects we have chosen not to work with, people who wanted to retire, because they're using this language, I can't retire, I can't do this, I can't do this. And it's not going to work out. Maybe we all learn in the right time, right? Our minds are opened at different points in time to learn different things. And maybe at some point in time, they'll change their mindset and be able to move forward. But there's a lot of things that have to happen to have these successful retirements. So the goals is important. The goals helps you adjust all these other things we've been talking about. The way you talk to yourself, the way you believe that you're either worthy of a good retirement or not, the words you use when you're talking about retirement, when you're talking about saving for retirement. I can't save any money. There's no money to save. Things like this will really negatively affect you. Instead of the money the money will come. I will be provided for. Can save money, right? I can, even if you save $10, like just the fact that you're doing it, you're saying I can, it will allow you to do more. So these are a lot of things depending what stage of life you're in, but it's something that can be used no matter what stage of life you're in, and it's just a different amount.
Wow, whose kid is that? Man, your father must be pretty proud of you. Wow. Andrew Agemy, Daniel Agemy, father and son team coming to you with financial strategies with Andrew and Daniel Agemy. Today's topic, Hawaii 5-0, defining your retirement. Before we take a break, I hope you join us. Listen, I want you to, if you guys, we're doing a different kind of show today in a lot of different ways. And if you like this, let us know. If you don't like this, let us know, right? Call the 800 number, 800-725-7616. To let them know we've got a book we want to give you in a minute here. We also want to offer you the RRR. Stay tuned for that to hear what the RRR, Retirement Risk Report or Retirement Readiness Report, is. But I'm interested in hearing from you. I'm interested in your questions. Let us know what your questions are. We'll answer them on the air. If you like this kind of show, be able to do other things. There's still going to be financial coming up in the show, but we're looking at other things that affect your finances besides finances themselves, yourself. And so today's book that we like to give to you is from our friend Anthony Saccaro, which is More Money, More Life Than Money: How Not to Outlive Your Savings. And Anthony does a splendid and a spectacular job in educating people in many things that they don't know, that they don't even know about retirement and retirement planning and strategies and that kind of thing. Get your free copy. Be one of the first 5 first-time callers at 800-725-7616. 800-725-7616. Call now.
Do you have any questions for me about retirement income source?
I just want to make sure I can invest well enough to have enough income, enjoy my retirement.
We build a custom retirement plan based around your income and goals.
How do I know I can trust you?
Building trust does take time, but our investment advisory arm is comprised of fiduciaries, which means our obligation is to you, so you can enjoy your retirement. It's a little more income stability.
I'm in.
That's 2 out of 3.
This is Financial Strategies with Andrew and Daniel Agemy.
AAA, I was talking to one of my friends the other day, a good friend who moved here. And when he moved to the US, didn't speak English, right? And there's that saying that goes, we overestimate what we can accomplish in 1 year and vastly underestimate what we can accomplish in 10 years. And he was reflecting back to the last 5 years and 10 years of his life, from barely being able to speak English and not thinking he could really ever get a job, to now having a very successful business.
Wow.
And during the process, it seems slow, and you don't see progress from day to day, right?
Right.
But when you look back 5 years, you either see tremendous growth, you see stagnant, or you see there was nothing, right? And if you make little decisions, they do not have to be very big. You just try to get a little bit better each day. You look back 5 years and you're like, I cannot believe how much this has compounded. Now, this happens with money. If it sits in the bank for 5 years, you've got nothing. It did nothing for 5 years. Actually, you lost because inflation went up, or not inflation, but money debasement, money creation, whatever you want to call it, monetary inflation increased by 7 or 8%. So you lost. But it goes to show by just doing a little bit, that compounding effect, either in life or in money, works wonders. I'm Daniel Agemy.
And I'm Andrew Agemy. You're listening to Financial Strategies with Daniel Agemy. Today's show is called Hawaii 5-0, Defining Retirement. We're glad you joined us. And, I just love being in Hawaii, having my son Daniel on the other end. I just got to say, book him, Daniel, right? And we're booking another show today. So that's great, as well as booking all that dividends and interest for our clients, right? Right, Daniel? You like to book those dividends and interest for our clients so that they can retire and stay retired. Well, that's good, Daniel. That's a great example. Your friend is. So two things I want to say that I recently read in a book that, a man was asking, one of my friends was asking a woman taking care of him, came from another country, why did you come to this country? And she said, well, I always thought that, America had money growing on trees. And my friend said to her, you're right. Money does grow on trees in America, but you have to plant your own tree and you have to find your own dirt.
I like that.
And isn't that great? And that's what your friend did, right? And it also reminds me of the bamboo tree, Daniel, because the bamboo tree, you plant it, you fertilize it, you water it, and it grows like maybe an inch every year. Then in the 5th or 6th years, it goes bam, and it jumps up, right? But that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about the goals. That 80% of people we talked about earlier in the show that don't have any goals, they're not going to be like that, right? At least those people that, have some kind of idea what they're doing, they could turn into that pretty well. But that's what we're talking about. But retirement, and when we're talking about having goals for retirement, understanding what you want to do, wants and needs, right? There's needs that just get you through, but who in the world really wants to retire just to live the same way you've been living? Don't you want to spice it up a little bit? I mean, think about it for a minute, guys and gals in our listening audience. When you were younger, raising kids, you did things because, oh, honey, we can't buy that. We don't need that. We're not going to buy that. Oh, we don't need a Mercedes. We need a, Sable, a Ford Sable wagon, right? Or whatever, because that's going to take care of our needs. And why did you do it that way? So that you could save money so that you can do what you want when you're in retirement. But what do you want? I talk to so many people that don't know what they want. And if you don't have grandkids, there's a piece of your wanting that you probably haven't thought about yet because you haven't even thought about grandkids. Because when grandkids on the say, when grandkids came on my purview, I started thinking about all those things that I want to do with my grandkids. So I bought an RV so I could take my grandkids across the country in an RV the way I did my kids. Right. So there's these different kinds of things. There's the one person I spoke to that said, we have 18 grandchildren. When they turn 18 years old, we take them anywhere they want to go in the world on a trip. Of course, he's got the money to do it. But, if you can afford to do it, wouldn't you want to do it? I talked to some clients of mine recently and they're no kids. Right. They had double incomes, no kids, retired now. I said, what are you guys going to do? You going to enjoy? Yeah, we're enjoying retirement. I said, what are you going to do? Well, we do a little bit of travel. I said, well, you ever fly first class? And the woman said, well, I want to, and points it to her husband. And he said, I don't want to fly first class. I don't get any value in flying first class. I'd rather buy a new truck than fly first class. But these folks, I said to them, listen, guys, you have enough money to fly first class. I don't want to fly first class. I said, okay, then let her fly first class and you fly coach, okay? You get the coloring books in the back while she's in the front with the champagne, okay? And, but it's up to what you want to do, right? And needs versus wants. What do you want to do? Stretch your mind. What do you want to do? If you could do it, and like Daniel, to your point, right? It's like the tenure, you think out 5 or 10 years to retirement. How could I ever do that? My wife tells a story of how I said, we're going to go to Hawaii on our 25th anniversary. And she said, no, she said to herself, no way. How's that going to happen? It's kind of like Sarah in the Bible, right? When God said, oh, Sarah's going to have a baby, and she laughed, right? That's what kind of like your mom was like, Daniel, right? But guess what? We went to Hawaii in our 25th anniversary. Now this is like our 4th or 5th time in Hawaii, right? She didn't think it could be done, but it can. Right. And the question is, how is it going to be done? Are you have the right people around you to help you to be able to get to that point? Are you thinking the right ways? That's where the wants start is what do you want to think right? Do you want to have the right people to be able to help you get to that? Well, you're listening to Financial Strategy.
And are you
No, you can't talk. No.
And are you compounding, right? Are you compounding your knowledge? Are you compounding your money? Are you compounding your skills? Are you compounding your relationships? Right? That compounding is an amazing thing. We, as humans, we can't even comprehend compound growth.
That's right.
We can't. We think linear. We don't think exponential. Yep. But compounding is exponential. And so you don't need to know how it's going to happen in 10 years. What you need to do is just do a little bit better, a little bit more, save a little bit more, learn a little bit more. Talk to a few more people, add a little bit more value to people's lives. And in 10 years, it will automatically happen because that's the magic of compounding.
Exactly. That's great, Daniel. And I don't know if I had said it when I talk about the bamboo tree, but in the 5th, 6th year, the bamboo tree grows like 100 feet. And it's all this exponential growth. Why? Because all those 5 years that was put in. It's like, Daniel, when we went to Aunt Louise's house, 15, 20 years ago, and she had that big 6x6 piece of concrete there that we had to break up, and I hit it once and it didn't break. I hit it twice and it didn't break. I hit it 13 or 14 times before it broke. Now, which one broke it? The first one, the second one, the 11th, the 13th time? Which one? All of them. All of them compounded to add up to breaking that big old piece of cement that people would think, oh, how could that ever happen? You're listening to Financial Strategies with Daniel Agemy. Today's topic is Hawaii 5-0, defining your retirement. The way that people define Hawaii 5-0, they think it's a police force, but it was really 5-0 for the 50th state. And we have a paper we'd love to give to you, talking about the Retirement Risk Report. I mentioned this earlier. This paper is called the Retirement Risk Report. Will you outlive your money? Well, for you who are listening in our listening audience, we have a retirement risk report that we're able to put together for you if you're so inclined. This is a $3,000 product, paper that we can put together for you, or analysis that we can do. We give you the paper for free today, telling you about it, but then there's the analysis. We're willing to take care of the people in our listening audience to do this analysis for free if you're able and wanting to do that, meet those qualifications to do that. But call now for your paper, Retirement Risk Report, that tells you how you can make sure that you don't outlive your money. 800-725-7616 for your free copy, 800-725-7616. Daniel, let's get into income, right? So we're talking about defining retirement. Number one is, making sure that you have goals for retirement. Number two is wants versus needs. What's your wants? Do you want to fly first class? Do you not want to fly first class, but want to buy a truck instead of flying first class or whatever, right? Because nobody has unlimited resources. You have to make decisions and choices. What are your choices? Number three on our list of defining retirement is making sure that you have enough income. And the big thing when we're talking about income is that people don't understand the definition of income. People don't understand the definition of a lot of things. Remember when your kids are 15, 16 years old, their definition of done was totally different than your definition of done. Hey, are you done with your homework? Yeah, I'm done. Are you done cleaning your room? Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, but then when you go check it out, they're not done at all according to your definition. So it's important to be able to be on the right page with the right definitions. And that's why we're calling today the Hawaii 5-0, defining retirement. One of the definitions in retirement is what's the definition of income? And some people define income by manufacturing income by doing withdrawals from their account. That's not income, is it, Daniel?
No. There's a dearth of income, right? People or education on income, I should say, not of income.
Right.
There's young people who are trying to, they understand income. They don't know how to get income. And I'm not talking about income from their jobs, for their retirement assets. People want income even if they're not in that retirement phase of life. People want income. Everywhere people want income. I hear it all the time. People are looking for how to get income. And because income has been very difficult to get, let's call it the last decade and a half, because rates have been so low, advisors, financial people don't even understand income themselves. And so
unfortunately,
now
I shouldn't be laughing, but
what's that?
I shouldn't be laughing. It's really egregious that financial people don't understand income properly, but it is true. It is so stinking true. I'm sorry to say.
And so what ends up happening is a lot of financial people, especially from big box financial firms, they listen to the product managers or the CFAs or whoever it may be in their firms. And the firm's intention is different. The firm's goal is different than the retiree's goal or intention.
Right.
And so what ends up happening is they package all this risk into an income. I'm doing air quotes, right? Into an income product, and it pays you. The difficulty is if things go wrong, your principal becomes at risk, not the firm's principal, not the person selling its principal, your principal. So you might get a couple points better than something that's actually an income product with no frills and whistles. It pays you, right? You get a couple points better, but your downside is tremendous. And it's scary because these things are getting pushed because people don't understand income. Or there's things where it's puts and calls and they package it up. It's options and they package it up into a product that's manufacturing income. And again, it gets you maybe a little bit better than if you just went and bought, say, a U.S., an agency bond, or you bought a good solid corporate bond. Maybe it gets you a little bit better, but your downside is and nobody understands how it works, right? You need to be an engineer in financial engineering to understand how this thing works. And this is a mom and pop that maybe had a deli or did something and they saved up money. This is all their money. They had a house that they did really well and they sold their house and now they're turning their house into the retirement fund. And these are not things that are appropriate for retirees, but they're desperately looking for income. And the answer is, where's the education? How do I get the income, right? How do I pay for my retirement?
Mm-hmm.
And so hopefully we can get into a little bit about that today in this next segment, AAA.
All right. Well, Daniel, that's all good stuff. You're listening to Financial Strategies. Andrew Daniel Agemy. Today's topic is Hawaii 5-0, defining retirement. And we have a book we love to be able to put in your hand. Besides the retirement risk report that we have available for people, if you want that, give us a call, 800-725-7616. Today's book, More Life Than Money by our friend Anthony Sicaro. Love to put this in your hand, teach you a lot of things that you don't know, that you don't even know, that you don't know. 800-725-7616 for your free copy. First 5 first-time callers, 800-725-7616. Call them now.
Time for some tough questions for these financial advisors. What makes Retirement Income Source different from other financial?
Our extensive experience generating investment income quickly so you can have financial peace of mind, navigate your retirement smoothly, and have more time to spend with family and doing the things you love.
We gotta talk to these guys. We're done here.
You're locked on to Financial Strategies with Andrew and Daniel Agemy.
Connecticut used to have, I don't know if it still does, but two of the largest casinos in the world are in Connecticut, or at least years ago. And so just picture yourself going to the casino. Maybe you go, maybe you're a gambler, maybe you're not, but many people are gamblers with their investments more than they're gamblers by going to casino. But take this into consideration. You go into the casino, and even if you are a gambler, right? You go into a casino, there's a table there, and they say, hey, Mr. Customer, put down $100, and you have the chance of being able to make maybe 10, 20, maybe $30 on that. So you walk away with 10, 20, 30% on your money, but you could lose $50 from that standpoint, or all of it. Would you take that bet? Would you put down $100 to gain 10, 20, 30% when you could lose 50% or all of it? I'm Andrew Agemy.
And I'm Daniel Agemy, and you're listening to Financial Strategies. Today we're talking about Hawaii 5-0. We see AAA over there sitting in Hawaii. Beautiful backdrop, although it's still looking gray. I know it's not, but on the screen it is. And redefining retirement, or defining retirement. AAA,
right.
People have a lot of notions, a lot of conceptions. And actually, we're getting into defining risk in this segment. But people have a lot of notions that are not true. People use a lot of definitions that they're programmed into them. They think of it a certain way, but it's not actually what it means, or it's not an actual right description of what they're trying to define. And retirement is a big one of those, but there's a lot of other things too. That's right.
Like you had, pointed out, income, is a huge thing that they don't do. Many times they're talking about engineered income, manufactured income, as opposed to true grassroots income from dividends and interest. But one of the big things is people talk about, so many times, do you think you should be aggressive or conservative? And they'll say, well, I haven't saved enough money. I need to be aggressive at this point in my life. And I say, well, is that because you think you're going to make more money by being aggressive? And what's their answer? Yeah, I think I'm going to make more money. That's a wrong philosophy. That's a wrong thought process. That's not the right definition. If being aggressive, more aggressive, meant and equaled making more money, it wouldn't be aggressive. If being aggressive,
think about that. Stop. People think about that. If being aggressive meant you always earned more money, you always had better results by being aggressive, it wouldn't be aggressive. It would just be normal, or it would be safe.
Right. Exactly. Just like we talked about with that casino analogy, right? You know that the casino is aggressive and that you can lose money. You know that. So, why would you risk 50% or all of your money for gaining 10 or 20 or 30% in that example? That's the big thing. Risk adjusted return. Is the risk worth the reward? Risk adjusted return. That's the big question. And people don't give thought to that. Too many times, Daniel, right? We have people to come in. I say, are you conservative investor or aggressive? They'll say conservative. And then I say, well, how much money, do you think of your money should be, in the stock market, aggressively invested in the stock market right now? And they'll say something like 10%. And then I look at their portfolio, Daniel, what do I find? 90% of their money is in the stock market. It's just a reverse of what they said. They're upside down. And then they say to me, well, why is that? Well, I told my financial person I wanted to be conservative. And I said, yeah, well, he's got you into conservative and aggressive. It's a definition issue. Definitions in life are so key.
Yeah, AAA, actually, you and I haven't even talked about this. And so tell me if I'm on point or tell me if I'm off. You, I would say, are an aggressive person. You don't shy away from risk, but you don't like losing money. You hate losing money. You don't lose money. You don't want to do that. And that's a weird balance. It's a weird balance. And this has been in myself too. I've felt like I'm a conservative person. And you know me, I'm not a conservative person, right? I embrace risk, but what I've learned, and it started with you taking me to trading events when I was 19, 20, 21, right? And learning risk adjusted returns, because humans were very biased.
Right.
We have a lot of biases in us, and we don't understand risk. We don't understand return risk metrics. And so you don't have to take on a lot of risk to get a big return.
Right. Right.
But you need to understand the proper risk reward metrics to do that. Just like, because you're being aggressive doesn't mean you have a high potential for a high rewards. Aggressive does not mean risk. So for example, and why I brought you up was because you don't like to lose money. So you would say that was conservative. If you don't like to lose money, doesn't that mean you're risk averse? Or doesn't that mean that you're conservative? Well, that's why in these questions, these meetings you're having with people, they're saying one thing and doing something else because they're not understanding that risk metric. So you don't like to lose money, but you're not necessarily conservative or safe, or I shouldn't say safe. You're not necessarily aggressive with your assets, but you can embrace risk. The difference is you taught yourself risk adjusted return metrics.
Right. Right. And, and that's what I talk to people about when I put up the teeter-totter of all investments. We can divide all investments into 3 categories: aggressive, moderate, and conservative, and then subdivide those into those same categories. But the thing is, you can make money in all of those categories. But in the conservative category, you don't lose any money. You don't lose any principal. You may not make as much in the others, but you have no loss of principal. Maybe loss of purchasing power, but no loss of principal. And, it's important when we're talking about risk, we're talking about having the appropriate risk to you. We're not trying to get anybody off of their risk tolerance from where their true risk tolerance is. We're just trying to want to help people understand what their risk tolerance is and make it appropriate to them. That's what I'm trying to do today. You're listening to Financial Strategies with Andrew Daniel Agemy. We have a paper today that will help you understand your risk tolerance as well as where you stand with the risk of your investments right now. It's called RRR, Retirement Risk Report. It's a report that this paper is going to be able to help you understand how the report works so that you can get a definition of what your investments are versus how you want your investments to be as far as a risk-adjusted return. Call now, 800-725-7616. Ask for the paper, RRR. You're listening to Financial Strategies. Andrew and Daniel Agemy. Today's topic is Hawaii 5-0, defining retirement. I mean, who doesn't want to be in Hawaii, go to Hawaii in retirement or even before retirement, right? Great place to be. As we're finishing up today, Daniel, we've been talking about defining retirement. And the first thing in defining retirement is understanding what your definition, what your retirement looks like to you in regard to goals. Secondarily, the needs of retirement versus the wants of retirement, right? What do you need to get to retirement, but what do you really want to do if you had your druthers to do in retirement? And do you have the money to do that? That's one of the things that the RRR, the Retirement Risk Report, that analysis of the Retirement Risk Report will show people. The third thing is making sure that you have enough income, true income, dividends and interest to last the rest of your life, right? More than enough income to last the rest of your life. The fourth thing is making sure that your risk is appropriate to you, not somebody else's risk, not Wall Street's risk, not the casino's risk. What's your risk? Make sure that your investments are set up appropriately to your thought processes. Do you like to lose money? Do you not like to lose money? Everybody wants to make money. The big question is how much are you willing to lose?
Yeah. And with that, defining aggressive. What do you mean by aggressive? Right? Mm-hmm. Because AAA, we can look at I was listening to a podcast today. There was a guy talking about he went from having $70 million. He had $70 million in 1995, 1996, 1997.
Wow.
And then after the tech bubble bust, he was negative $3 million.
Whoa.
So that's an example that I like to use. When people talk about aggressive, if you were aggressive, and people will sometimes say, well, I got another 10 years. I hear this all the time. I want to be aggressive. I got another 10 years before I retire. If you wanted to be aggressive, and this is why I hate the word aggressive so much, because it doesn't mean anything to people. If you wanted to be aggressive in 1999, 2000,
Right.
and you bought the NASDAQ, you lost 90% of your money, 95% of your money. If you held it, okay, and you didn't sell anything, you owned the NASDAQ, not stocks, because a lot of stocks went to zero, but you actually owned the NASDAQ and you held it. It would have come back eventually. If you owned the S&P, you would have been thrilled to death. In 2008, you were back to even. That's a long time, right?
That's a long time. That's right.
And then it crashed again, and it took to 2013. So from 2000 to 2013 to just get back to even if you didn't sell. And that's where I say the risk-adjusted return is important, because that's not uber aggressive. That's not being anything crazy. That's the S&P. It took 13 years. And if we look back through history, that's not a rare thing. That's happened, I think, 13 or 14 times throughout market history when we look at that, where it took between 10 and 20 years to get back to even. So we're not saying time the market, but we're saying it matters. There's signs where you know things are not a good time to be aggressive.
Yeah.
And there's times when it's the right time to be aggressive. And it didn't do you any good to be aggressive if you bought the S&P in 1999 or 2000. And that's where we're looking at the risk-adjusted return. That's why we talk about income so much, because the S&P has averaged 9% over 150 years. And because of where rates are right now, you can get somewhere around 8% in income paying things. So that doesn't have the same type of volatility. That doesn't have 50% drawdowns, and you get paid even during the drawdowns. So when there are drawdowns, you still get paid your 8% or right around that number. Whereas if you are in the aggressive to get your 9%, you can have these drawdowns. So we're not doing risk-adjusted return justice right now because we're running out of time, but we want to give people that thought process to think about it. Don't say aggressive or not aggressive. Think speculation or investment. Speculation means you're hoping that it goes up. Investment means it's paying you. And think about risk-adjusted returns. Is now a better time, just like the casino, is now a better time? Is my upside better than my downside? And if I was making a bet that I could lose everything and make 9%, I wouldn't do that. Is that what I'm doing in markets? Or is it a bet where I could make 200% and I can only lose, 10% or whatever that may be? So think about it in risk-adjusted returns, what I'm willing to lose or what I'm willing to make. And when you think about it like that, it can help you make better financial decisions. Also, that report we're giving out can actually lay it out in risk-adjusted return metrics for you.
Wow, 8% at less than half the risk of the stock market. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. People don't know about it. People don't know what they don't know. You were talking about, these various things, Daniel, but I want to add to that, having the right strategies. That's why this show is called Financial Strategies. It's about the strategies that you do things, that you have behind things. Not so much the investments, because investments can change, plans can change. But if you have the right strategies, the strategies are the same. And the strategies move forward and get you to where you're trying to go. Like what we were talking about with that bamboo tree, little by little, even if you don't see the growth, boom, it jumps up in the 5th or 6th year of that bamboo tree. So you listen to Financial Strategies. Daniel Agemy today. We have a couple things we want to give away to you. We want to give away the book by our friend Anthony Sicaro, More Life Than Money. Great book that will help you. We want to give you the opportunity to get the RRR, Retirement Risk Report, Retirement Readiness Report, the analysis that will help you understand where your risks are. It's a $3,000 thing that if I had to charge you for it, but because of a radio listener, we're giving those away to our radio listeners today for free, if that's what you want. Call us 800-725-7616 for your free copy of the book, First 5 First-Time Callers. Or, if you want that retirement risk report analysis, let us know that when you call 800-725-7616. At Agemy Financial Strategy, we believe that an educated retiree is a happy and stress-free retiree. That's what we want for you.